I'm so happy to be here in Art Cafe and talk to the owner of this great cafe, Mark Gask. And you are a special person here because you are Scottish. Yes, you came from Scotland to Estonia 17 years ago, and you are interested in Russian history.
Yes.
And what period of time of Russian history are you interested in? It's 19th century, yeah? Or
well, thank you, Dobry den, Max. Thank you for having me. Welcome to the Stapley 3 Art Gallery here in Noblesna. Yes, I'm interested in history. It started when I was at school, learning about the Tsars and the Russian Revolution, and early part from battles of Austerlitz with Napoleon and the great romantics. So you could say that I am somewhat of a romantic idealism of history, the good and the bad. And part of the attraction of coming to Tallinn, Estonia, was history, because I've travelled throughout Europe. I've been to St. Petersburg many times, Moscow, I've been to Prague and Vienna and Austria, of course Germany, Poland, Krakow, and I finally settled in Tallinn 17 years ago, and it had that very much historical feel about it, you know, going way back, and again including the Soviet period, you know, the light and the dark, the shade and the light. You know, you can't take out the bits you don't like that hurt. It's part of the whole sort of package. So you balance out the historical part. Your question was, which bit do I like? Well, the Tsars, the great you know, the great emperors, you know, the Imperial Russia, to give you a title. I love the Imperial Russia sort of side. But you balance that with the idealism of what the Soviet Union created, this great idealism, which again was light and dark. You know, you had this great pulling together of people, this one mind, you know, to go from basically a farming background to a huge industrial country. So it has a great history, and of course Estonia was very much part of that for many years under the regime of the USSR, or the ESSR as it was. But my passion, yes, is Russian history, going back to the more romantic side. You know, you talk of Tolstoy, War and Peace, Anna Karenina, Onegin, you know, great romantics with tragedy. And I suppose I like the vulnerability, the tragedy, the idealism of it all.
so you are a romantic and idealist?
Yes.
Still?
I am artist, I am sensitive.
Okay. You have been living in Estonia for 17 years,
Mm-hmm.
and do you speak Estonian?
No.
No.
Sorry.
Can I ask you, and your passion is Russian history, and can you tell me what is common and maybe differences between Scottish people and Russian people, or Western people and Eastern people?
There are huge differences, but there are similarities nevertheless. So the differences between Scottish people and Russian people. Well, you both have history. Scottish history are great warriors. They come from the clans. They have a code. They also are very territorial. This is my side of the hill or glen. This is your side of the glen. They're great warriors, full of passion. We have a saying, when you fight with heart, passion and steel. With Russians, they've come from a poor background over the centuries, you know, going back to the beginning. They were dominated by many things, by wealthy people, as they are today. You know, you go from early times to now times, you know, oligarchs, to today's time to the previous times. It was the Tsars who dominated them, it was the nobles that dominated them. So life hasn't really changed, and that's led, in my opinion, the Russian people insecurity. They feel they have to, you know, big up themselves. So they come with a bit of an attitude, and they don't do themselves any favours, I'm afraid. You know. And Scottish people don't need to do this. They're very laid back, they're very cool, it's inner. Their warrior is inner, where the Russian people, their warrior is outer. They feel the need to express this, their attitude, you know, the way they stomp about and project themselves, you know. And there's no need for it. But it's part of their culture, and you understand why. And again, you go through their history, you know, from Ivan the Terrible, you know, to Putin. There's a familiar theme that goes through all of winning and losing and fighting. And you know, Russia today is still trying to find its identity, I believe, of who it actually really wants to be. You know, has this thing of shutting out the outside world. Why? Let it in. Restrictions, you know, and again, history. You can have papers and passes. And you asked me why did I not move to St. Petersburg, and I said, well, papers, passports. When you come to Estonia, yeah, there you go. Walk in. No restrictions. So again, Scotland, people are very open, very warm, invite you into their clan quite easily. Where Russian people, maybe not so as inviting, you get put off more by their body language, their stance, their lack of warmth, their lack of compassion, which is there, but there's this sort of barrier.
And between them is Estonians. What do you think about Estonians?
Well, Estonians, of course, and of course we have Estonian Russians, of course. We're going to separate again. Estonians by nature are very cool. You use the word cool, they are Estonians. And we often say, your previous question about the difference between the East and the West, well, you could interpret Estonians as being rude and anti-social, but they're not. They have this wonderful preservation of politeness. They like your space and they don't interrupt. They don't ask you personal questions. Where in the United Kingdom we are nosy by nature. We will stand at a bus stop and go, hi, how are you? Nice weather, where's it going? You wouldn't do that in Estonia. You'd all be walking in a restaurant, you'll be playing on your phones and not talking to anybody. And no one talks to anybody. It's not they're rude, not polite, they just have this space, this personal space thing. And when you first come here, it takes a bit of getting used to when you're British and you're used to, hi, how are you? And this sort of kind of thing. And I'm used to sort of doing that. And that's here why it works for me. I'm communicative. I make a point of, hi, how are you? And they have to, you know, they answer me. The early guidebooks when I first came here read that you could be having a heart attack in the centre of Freedom Square and people would just step over you, walk by, you know, ignore you. Where, excuse me, I'm having a heart attack. Oh shit, better get an ambulance, you know. So you have to ask. And that's an interesting one. Where in the United Kingdom and Scotland are a bit more warmer. You don't necessarily, people are very quick to assist, very quick to help. So that's interesting.
And it's the difference, yeah. Okay. As in your cafe, I saw, I see the portraits of Nikolai II.
Mm-hmm.
And why have you these portraits here?
3 reasons. Number 1, we're an art gallery, so I'm trying to show you a mix of art, of culture. Number 2, I am showing you that we like Russian art to a Russian audience who are in Tallinn, who live in this neighbourhood, who come in here and drink coffee. And number 3, I love Russian art. I love the great masters of Repin, and Kramskoy, and Levitan, and Shishkin, all the great masters of Russia that in the West we don't see, never even heard of. When I first went to St. Petersburg many years ago, you go to the Great Hermitage and you go, it's very French. Seen that, seen the Van Gogh, seen this. We go around the corner to the Russian Museum and you see Repin and these fantastic art that the West has never seen. You think, wow, what amazing art. So yeah, so we have a Kramskoy above the desk to show you.
And many others.
Many others. So yes, so portraiture of the Tsar is a sort of nod. It's a sort of nod to your history.
Um, do you know that the famous Russian poet Mikhail Lermontov had Scottish roots?
Ah, okay.
Yes. So his origins from Scotland. So, and we have a great poet of 19th century.
19th century, okay.
So Scotland gave us such a great poet, and Russia, as an empire, accumulated this people from different nations. Yeah. So you said that you like empire, and you prefer, and you would prefer to live in an empire. Yeah.
You ever had a time machine?
A time machine.
A time machine, you go back.
Yes, but now you live in a small country. It's not an empire. It's a national state, maybe. Yeah. So, but can you say that modern Russia is an empire or not?
Yes, it is. Yes, it very much is. And with the current government administration, it's its aim, it's its ambition. It wants to keep it that way. It doesn't open its doors to the wider world, for good reasons and for bad reasons. So that's its own doing.
You said that Scotland people and Russian people are warriors, but Russian more aggressive, and you can see it. Yes. So it's in politics and maybe in personal relationships. Yeah. Can you say, and Scotland people were such kind of people, yes, warriors, but now they're calm, yeah, or not, and more polite, maybe open-minded, relaxed, friendly, yeah. So how did they become such people? Can you tell and explain the reasons, the way, maybe circumstances which switch off, yeah, or change the whole nation and made them not so aggressive, maybe, yeah, and more friendly.
Well, I guess they always were friendly, but to their own kind. And I suppose you've got to go back to the roots. And yes, you've seen the films of Braveheart, which is not true. There's some evidence, there's parts of it, of course, are historically correct, but it's not a documentary. You've seen the films of Rob Roy and the great Scottish films. So, like anywhere, you treat people with suspicion. In the same way I come to Estonia, I'm treated with suspicion. I'm a foreigner. I'm an immigrant in this sort of sense. So, over the years, the Scottish people realised that their clan, their side of hill becomes bigger. You think about how life has changed. Before you went a few miles to get some milk or some bread or to get the cattle. Now you can travel faster. Your horizons are your horizons have been widened to bigger towns, bigger cities, which means you have to integrate to get on. You know, in the same way you take that analogy out to Russia. Russia wants to develop itself. It's got to widen its horizons. It's got to do that. So the Scottish people have realised, in order to survive, you need your neighbours. We have a great expression, you need your ken, you need your neighbours. So the bigger you become, the bigger area you come, you need to get on with your neighbours to make it work for you. And especially the more rural you are, you need your neighbours even more to help you out if the weather is bad, or to celebrate if the weather is good. So over the generations, with the way the Industrial Revolution has worked and progression has worked, introducing the trains and the cars and the aeroplanes, as a nation we've realised that we are bigger, but still very private in comparison, say, to the Irish or the Welsh or the English. But I've also realised one thing, that we all need each other too. We can't operate alone.
Yeah, but you preferred to move from Scotland, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and to live here.
Mm-hmm.
And do you feel yourself as an immigrant? Yeah.
No.
No.
I commute. I commute still because I have a gallery in Scotland, so I live in between. I do commute, and that kind of helps as well. So no, I've never classed myself as immigrant or foreigner. Because I travel a lot. I've always travelled a lot, and I think that sort of projection is done by other people in terms of that. And it's I think people wherever you travel to will always class you as that wherever you are. And there's a difference between, well, here's a question to put out there. When is a person a foreigner? When are they a tourist and when they're an immigrant? What's the difference? Am I a tourist? Am I an immigrant? What's changed? The fact that I've come here and set a business up, does that make me an immigrant? Where before I was just a tourist. You see the difference? I haven't changed.
Yes. Between tourists and immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so what's changed? So,
No?
no.
No difference.
I don't see the difference at all. So this is just words that other people may be used because of fear.
You don't have a fear.
Yeah.
Do you miss your motherland?
There is a famous saying from a famous song about wherever you lay your hat is your home, is a saying. And again, as I said, because I travel, I have the benefit of travelling, and when you think about it, I am 4 hours away by plane. So yes, of course you miss bits there, but then when I'm there, I miss bits here. So it's, you take it with you.
Okay. Can you tell me what facts from Russian history inspire you? Maybe.
Actual facts.
Yes.
Well, I'm not academic in that sense. I'm more visual. Again, artists and art galleries. It's the visual images. And I go back to War and Peace and the uniforms and the great gowns. And when I was in Moscow, go and visit the Kremlin, and you see the beautiful cathedrals and the artwork, and you go to St. Petersburg and see the grand palaces. It's more the imagery, rather than the sort of more academic viewpoint is where I sort of come from.
So it's aesthetics more.
It's more aesthetic for me, yeah. It's more visual for me.
Visual.
More visual.
And who is your favorite artist, maybe?
Well, Repin, of course.
Repin.
Kramskoy, number 2. Yeah.
And you are also artist.
Yes, I paint abstracts and do photography art. Yes.
Do you sell your paintings?
Of course.
here?
Yes, of course.
And also you sell artworks of local artists.
Well, we have 3 things we do here at Stapley 3. One is we are exhibition space for Estonian artists. So we have 2 exhibition areas. Obviously we can extend this to Russian artists or to Finnish artists or to international artists, but as we're in Estonia, we are paying our respects and homage to our home nation. So we have 2 reserved spaces for Estonian artists. Secondly, I am bringing in Scottish art from Scotland. 1, because I know where it comes from. B, I have many connections of Scottish artists until, of course, we make more connections here. And 3, I am bringing in from the UK what we refer as interior art. Just nice, different interior art pictures that fit in many homes. You look at where we are in Noblesna, we're about to embark on 10,000 brand new apartments being built, which people would need a picture for their apartment. So you think about a mere practicality of having just a nice picture for their lounge or their bathroom or their bedroom. And in order to sell fine art these days, you have to make it accessible to people, you have to make it easy for people, you've got to be warm and friendly and just break down those barriers. There's no point in having a gallery and the first thing you do is scare people off with something which is 25,000 euros. Because they go to where you start off smaller, more cost effective. So we do a range of ideas in here to make you feel comfortable, and that's why the concept of the art cafe. So you walk into a gallery and, oh, I can have a coffee. And you can sit down in your own space and look around at the pictures and you can say to yourself, I like this, I don't like this, that is reasonably priced, I like that, that is affordable.
Am I right saying that artists are non-conformists?
Artists
Are non-conformists.
Conformist.
Non-conformists. Novators. Are you?
Non-conformist?
Yes, non-conformist.
There's a yes and there's a no. A successful artist is a conformist because they conform to a market they want to sell to. And therefore, as an artist, you have a choice. Do you wish to make a living out of selling your art, or do you not? If you do not wish to make a living, you want to make a statement, you're non-conformist. You can paint what you want, wherever you want, and if someone wants to buy it, then you're lucky. But if you are an artist that wishes to be successful at selling art, you have to be a conformist, because you are conforming to a certain style or a market that you're painting to, which your customers coming in, whether you like it or not, and it's whether you want to be part of that. So yes, you have to conform to that gallery style or that area style. For example, in Scotland, there's a movement for selling pictures of Highland cows at the moment. And many people have gone, I don't want to paint Highland cows. Where the artists who are painting Highland cows are selling lots of them. So do you conform to painting Highland cows or do you not?
And if we are talking about you as a person, like you like revolutions, yes, to learn about revolutions in Russia and maybe all over the world as well. So are you a revolutionary inside of you?
Yes, absolutely.
So what would you like to change in Russia, in Estonia, and maybe in Scotland?
Well, in Scotland, the acceptance of who we are, and we're part of the United Kingdom, and that's not going to change. In Estonia, you have to open up to a wider world and be more open within yourselves to a wider world. And with Russia, you have to stop this dominance of thinking you are a great, once was superpower, and now open up to more of a wider world within yourselves and get rid of the restrictions in yourself which is holding you back, where you could be a great power. And look at China for an example.
And China, as for China and USA, is it the similar behavior like in Russia?
But they have open doors. They're keen to trade. They're keen to open everything up to you with little restrictions. They see the relationship of, we call givers gain. You give and you receive, you give and you receive. Where Russia is just closed. You know? So, for example, can I jump on a boat now to St. Petersburg and walk in? No, need a visa. Got a visa, got a visa. Okay, China's the same, America's the same, but it's back down to you're trying to attract an outside audience, an outside world to your beliefs and your faiths. How do you do that?
Okay. Thank you so much. And can you say what is your favorite? What is your favorite? How would say? motto maybe. Motto. Do you have a motto?
A motto?
Yeah.
I have many mottos.
Okay, tell us.
Many mottos. Many mottos. Okay, let me find one for you. Okay? I'll give you a couple. Fortune favours the brave. Okay? And fate whispered to the warrior, you cannot withhold the storm.
Okay.
And the warrior whispered back, I am the storm.
So you still fight for survival, for life?
Of course. Spirit, heart, passion, steel.
And what motivates you to be so passionate, active, and what inspires you, motivates you?
Well, it does come from within. It's a natural thing. I'm naturally in tune to the outside world. I get motivated by music, by art, by films, by people. But I have a natural ability to be open to many elements and let it in.
Okay.
It is out there. All you have to do is let it in.
What kind of films can you recommend to see us, and what kind of books can you recommend to read us?
Well, there are many films that start off with one subject and not necessarily about that particular subject. So you take a film called Field of Dreams that's about baseball, but it's not about baseball. So you go and watch that and figure that one out. You go and see a film called Salmon Fishing in Yemen. It's not really about salmon fishing in Yemen at all. You can watch a film called The Adjustment Bureau. They all have a very familiar theme when you watch them. And in there are all the answers in life, but do you see them?
And as for books?
Books, well again they've been based on famous science fiction books by Philip K. Dick, who wrote Blade Runner of course. So I'm not a great reader, I'm more visual. So I tend to like watching rather than reading.
Mark, thank you so much for this interesting interview, great interview. It was really interesting.
Спасибо.
Thank you. I wish you all the best, great success in your business, in your life. Thanks.
Спасибо.